Frustration that we told you about on Wednesday here on News 4. We showed you why neighbors in this Cheektowaga area are upset. They're living next to some empty houses. Well, now 2 state lawmakers are looking to force banks to keep up properties that are in the midst of foreclosure. News 4's Anthony CONGI is live in Cheektowaga with more on this. Anthony?
Yeah, Jordan, good afternoon. We're here on Gary Lane. It's a quiet little strip of street here in Cheektowaga, but behind me is a house that's been vacant for more than 5 years. The roof is coming down, pipes have burst, and no one is obviously moving in, and it's all because it's owned by a bank. But new legislation is trying to keep this from happening to many other types of neighborhoods.
I'd like to see the house go because it's shot.
35 Gary Lane is one of 28 vacant homes in Cheektowaga owned by Bank of America. It has also sat vacant for 5 years. That's because the homeowner fell behind on their mortgage. The bank started to foreclose, but then stopped. The bank does pay the property tax, but it allows the home to fall apart without letting it go back to the open market. And neighbors have had enough.
Really nice neighborhood, and they have a house that has grass. Sometimes they only come here twice a year to cut. It's almost like 2 feet high. I mean, the roof, you can tell, is destroyed. The house was never cleaned.
Senator Tim Kennedy and Assemblyman Sean Ryan are putting forth new legislation to prevent these situations by making banks responsible for the property.
Across Western New York, there are too many homes literally crumbling because banks and other mortgage holders refuse to be good neighbors and maintain the properties. We must fight to stop the bank's foreclosure delays and prevent blight from taking hold of communities throughout Buffalo and throughout Cheektowaga, Lackawanna, and other communities in Western New York.
If you have a bad apple in your fruit bowl, you pick it out or it'll infect the rest of the apples. No neighbor here wants to live next to this house. This property is worth less because this house is here, and that property is worth less because this house is here.
The legislation will also make the banks communicate with property owners and mandate that banks maintain the property. Now, if the legislation passes, what will happen is the community could go to the town, and the town could then file a lawsuit if the banks are not maintaining these types of properties. In Cheektowaga, Anthony CONGI, News 4 at noon.